I have arrived, not just at the spectacular Deene Park here, but with my overnight bag, because lucky me, I get to spend the night. Deene Park is one of England's most fantastic historic houses. It has roots from the medieval period, and then it evolved over the Tudor and Georgian periods as well to what we see today. It's been in the Brudelnell family since 1514, but it really did evolve over these 6 centuries. I'm here to meet and of course to stay with Charlotte and Robert Brudelnell, who are the custodians of wonderful Deene Park, and I can't wait to share all the history with you and what's going on here on the estate. When I married into the British aristocracy, it was the start of a wonderfully exciting journey, but it was also a little daunting. I became a Viscountess, and for an American girl from a small town outside Chicago, that was quite a shock.
I live with my husband Luke, heir to the Earl of Sandwich, and our family at Mapperton House in Dorset.
Living in a place like this is a joy, but also a challenge. And every day we're aware that we're preserving a very special part of Britain's heritage. Mapperton has opened up an extraordinary new world for me, and I can't wait to share it with you all.
So if you love castles and manors and stately homes as much as I do, please join this American Viscountess as I journey into the British countryside in search of some of Britain's finest historic houses.
Well, I'm hoping this is the right entrance, because the doors are open, so I must be in the right place. But look at this fantastic courtyard. I definitely have a lot of questions, but I am spotting actually a lot of heraldry, so a lot of coat of arms. Hello.
Welcome.
I love the knocker.
Welcome. Oh, lovely to see you.
So lovely to see you. Hello, Robert. How are you?
Hi,
Lovely to see you. Now, I have some questions about the courtyard. Can we start there first?
Let's go and have a look.
Okay, this has history, doesn't it?
Indeed, first mentioned in the Domesday Book, 1086, so going back a very long way.
Right.
And then it belonged to the See of Westminster, and it gradually got added and built to. So this section over here was added in about 1630s.
Also, when I was walking in, I noticed heraldry, coat of arms. There's coronets,
We've got the Earl's coronets up there.
Yes.
In the
That's what I
hoppers, the
thought.
top of it, because we had 7 Earls of Cardigan who lived here.
Okay.
Thomas Brudenell was made the first Earl of Cardigan in 1660.
Right.
And he built this tower up there, so we've got more heraldry up there.
Yes, you do.
And with the flag behind it, in your honour.
Oh my goodness. Okay, where are we walking into right now?
We're walking into the Great Hall, which we've just had redecorated 2 years ago. And it's got a fantastic ceiling, which is made out of sweet chestnut. And we were always told that the little weevils wouldn't eat into it, but unfortunately they have. So we've just had it restored, and we've repainted the Great Hall in what would have been actually the original colour.
Beautiful.
It's one of the last great halls that were built before they went out of fashion. We know it was built in 1571 because it says so on the mantelpiece over there. And it was rebuilt because Queen Elizabeth came to stay here for the night. And Edmund Brudenell thought, actually, if she came back for more than one night in the future, perhaps she better have a bigger Great Hall. So he built this Great Hall, but sadly she never came back. By 1600, these Great Halls were out of fashion, and quite a lot of the houses split them into 2 levels.
I'm just going to throw this out there because, as you mentioned, the mantle, I did spot some Montague lozenges.
There certainly is a Montague connection here.
Okay, should we save that for later?
We will.
Charlotte and Robert open a selection of rooms to the public on certain days in the year, but we will venture behind the scenes to glimpse how Deene Park is still very much a cherished family home.
Now turn left, come through here.
Okay. Oh my goodness. I I think I need to stay for a whole week, Charlotte.
We've got a lot of books for you to read. And we're putting you in the bow room.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. This is splendid. Okay, first of all, I love the colors. It's enormous. Did you do this?
You said exactly the right things. This is the one bedroom in the house that I have recently done up. And it was a germaline pink faded wallpaper and raspberry carpets which were shredded. And it's quite a difficult thing to know you've got to decorate a room for the next 60 years. The other thing I did was I took all the books out of the bookcase and put my collection of Coalport china in there, which is rather pretty.
So you did this all yourself? Yeah.
I suppose I did, darling, didn't I?
Yes. I didn't
And what do you think of it, Robert?
I didn't have a say in it, I'm sure. I just signed it off.
But then you've also got, up the stairs, this is very important, a bathroom which has got the best view in the world.
No, you're right. This is the best view in the world. The bridge I just walked over, and then look at these magnificent gardens down below. Thank you, both of you. It is really a treat, so thank you.
Shall we leave you to sort yourself out here and then come downstairs and have a drink?
I think that's an interesting thing.
This one piece will make 52 layers.
Watch on mobile devices or the big screen. All for free. No subscription required.
I did not expect this. When Charlotte and Robert asked me to stay, I of course said yes, but oh my goodness, she's done just a brilliant job here. And this is what's so wonderful about these historic houses, is the way that each homeowner, as they, take over, if you like, for their period of time, they put their mark on it, or they redecorate, or they add something. And this is exactly what Charlotte's done in this bedroom. She's put in such lovely, bright, happy colors here, but then kept the horsehair mattress. So I think that's what we're always trying to do as homeowners, is we're trying to make sure that, of course, we put our touches on it, but at the same time preserving the past.
The connection between the Brudelnell and the Montague families reaches back to the 18th century, when George Brudelnell, the 4th Earl of Cardigan, married Lady Mary Montague.
What I love best of all is the map in the corner that shows that my husband and my son are all descended from God.
Right,
And as I point out, as we all are.
We all are.
You'll probably find a lozenge or three.
I know, maybe. Yep, I already spotted it right there. So when was this created?
Well, I think the bottom one is the 3rd Earl of Cardigan, so it must have been early 1700s.
So it would have been early 1700s.
Yes.
Incredible. Well, you can see down through here, and this is what I love, you can see the 3 lozenges up there, Montagues, and here is Sidney Montague, and guess what, Charlotte? Right below Earl of Sandwich.
Yay!
Right there you go. And so he's got his garter there, and Jemima, the first Countess, and off they go, Edward Montague, the Earl of Sandwich. Gosh, you've got a lot here. Look at this. Edward Montague, Lord Hinchingbrook. Goodness me. I mean, wow. We've really, again, another Earl of Sandwich. That would have been the 3rd one. So, no, that would have been the 4th. So that would have been the one who invented the sandwich. Anyway, not taking it away from Charlotte here. But we're related, is what it is. We're related.
Kith and kin.
Anyway, I'm happy about is that we're related. And look at who's here to greet us. Minta. Now, I briefly walked through here on my way up to my gorgeous bedroom. As I walked in, of course me and my eagle eye, I spotted those Montague lozenges. There's center there, right there. And I'm learning a lot about the heraldry. So, because we have to remember that during that period, if you were a grand aristocratic or noble person, you have to marry somebody from a grand aristocratic family. So when you did, your coat of arms would be impaled with the wife's family coat of arms. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So you'll find in the middle there that they've got so many quarterings. It's grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents.
Right.
It was a very important part of the 16th century.
Yes.
And we've got them also on the stained glass windows we've got here. And the interesting story about this was that
oh my goodness.
on early December in 1943, we had an American air base of 3,500 Americans just up on the hill there. And they were flying B-17 Fortress bombers. And one of them early in the morning had ice on the wings, and it tipped over and was about to explode. And they managed to get into the local village and say, get up, out, out, out.
Right.
Boom, up it went.
No.
And it broke all the stained glass here. And Robert's grandparents stored glass on top of each other, which you don't do because the weight cracks it even more. And then after the war, during the 1950s, my parents-in-law got a grant to restore it. And with the grant came, you have to open to the public. And that's why we're open to the public.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Just like Bewley and so many English historic houses, Deene Park opened its doors to the public for the first time in the 1950s. And the Great Hall is still a highlight of the tours today.
And this is the original paneling here.
That is the paneling, the original paneling from when it was built in 1571.
Now, I see we've got some polishing going on over here.
Julie's very kindly helping us.
Yeah.
And I think you might join her, mightn't you?
Yeah, I would love to. So what are you using to polish it?
A wax.
Just a wax?
Yeah, just a wax, yeah.
Right.
You put it on very, very lightly. Always go with the grain.
Always
So
go with
the grain. Yeah, yeah. And little, and you can feel it almost go, it suddenly goes smooth.
Yeah.
You try that bit.
Okay.
And
with the grain.
yeah, you just go up and
Oh,
down
yeah.
and then just keep going. And then you can feel it suddenly go smooth.
You can?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. It's wonderful to be polishing something that's, Tudor period.
Yeah, absolutely, isn't it?
It is.
You think about the people that made it and the people that polished it before.
I know the people
and,
that polished it before. You think how many other hands were on this.
Exactly.
It's wonderful. So, do you want me to do all of it?
You're here for a week.
Thank you. What a really, really special place. And also knowing that this is one of the last great halls that was built gives it even more, meaning to it. When you walk in here, you just think how wonderful.
Thank you. We love it.
yeah.
We use it. We love it.
So this is the moment I know I've been waiting for, and hopefully you have as well. And that's really the history of Deene Park. It's been here for a millennium, really, but it's been, again, a part of the Brudelnell family since 1514, is that right?
Indeed. This is the start of the tour, and this is the billiard room. Originally in the medieval days, it would have been a parlour to the Great Hall. But I'm going to go back right to the very, very beginning, and that is that it's first mentioned in the Domesday Book in 1086. And so we know that it was here in 1086.
Yes.
It was a monastic retreat. The See of Westminster, the Bishop of Westminster, owned a lot of land around here. And he would come up and stay here to survey his land.
Yes.
So it was a small monastic cell, a little square courtyard house.
Ah.
And it remained as such until the church realised that actually perhaps they could rent it out to families who would let him come and stay twice a year and live there.
Right.
So in 1514, Sir Robert Brudenell took over the lease, because it was a lease then. This is the first room that our visitors come to, so we try to give them a little brief about it.
Right.
It's terribly important because it is the one part of the house where we have just one item of medieval, and that is in the far corner. There's a little
should we
arch.
go visit it?
There was an archway that went into a Catholic chapel. And then the other important thing in this room is we've got the charter, which is right there, that creates Thomas Brudenell, the first Earl of Cardigan. During the Civil War, King Charles I was trying to raise money.
Yes.
And Charles I asked him, and the son said, here's £1,000 for your fighting fund. When things come good, could you honour my father and his heirs? He was very canny. In 1660, when Charles II came to the throne, he said, could you hurry up and honour the debt to my father, because he's 81.
Right,
so we need that quite quickly.
Yeah, we need that title.
So 3 weeks before his coronation, he was created the first Earl of Cardigan.
As we explore the wealth of rooms here at Deene Park, there are a few surprises along the way.
Oh my goodness.
This is actually a very modern chapel. It was only done in the 1980s because the parish church it's a huge church, And it had 5 members of the congregation, all called Brudelnell.
Right.
And they froze to death in there. So my mother-in-law thought, well, why don't we make our own little chapel? And this was the billiard room. And we've just seen the billiard table, which moved into the smoking room because nobody smokes.
Yep.
And so she turned it into this beautiful chapel.
It's wonderful. And do you use the chapel?
We do.
You
William
do?
was christened here. We're having a service on Sunday week. And we have a lovely little tradition here, which you can bring in when you live in a house like this.
Yes.
Which is that having gone to the Royal Chelsea, or the hospital in Chelsea, every service they have there, whether it's a funeral or a wedding or whatever, they sing the national anthem. We sing the national anthem here at the end of every service.
No. Charlotte, this is incredible. Nuts.
This is the tapestry room.
Oh my goodness.
And once upon a time, it had tapestries all the way around it.
Okay, what about this ceiling here?
The ceiling is dated 1597. And we do have some rooms above it which we hardly ever go into because we don't want to bang and make too much noise on it.
Oh my goodness. I mean, can I just ask then, would this be considered a pendant ceiling?
Yes.
Because,
you can see the
because we have one at Mapperton in the Great Chamber, again Tudor, probably 1550. But this is extraordinary. I mean, unbelievable. Oh my goodness.
It's such a lovely room.
Spectacular. And so when you arrived, Deene, had this been sort of done to what we're seeing today by your mother-in-law?
She had, and actually it was well, after I'd married Robert, it was beige, this room, and my mother-in-law painted it this extraordinarily tealy, greeny blue colour, which I think is magnificent.
I
It
do
sets
too.
off her collection of Christian art.
Yep.
We've got a whole lot of Christian art. And you know what the great joy with these pictures in here is? I use them for doing Christmas cards.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. This one in particular, yes. I think this piece of furniture is the very oldest piece of furniture. I think it dates from the early 1500s.
Wow. Incredible.
Obviously was used in a kitchen because it's got lots of chopping marks on it.
Yep.
Do you think we're rather bored of listening to us?
Mint is ready to go into the next room.
This is King Henry's room. This is the room that King Henry VII would have stayed in on the way up to visit his mother, Margaret Beaufort,
Right.
who lived about 8 miles north.
Okay.
And she was the reason that Sir Robert Brudenell took on the lease here, because he was her finance advisor and her executor.
King Henry VII.
King Henry VII, his mother.
His
We've
mother.
got a picture of her here, Margaret Beaufort. Queen Elizabeth would have slept in this room when she came for her one night.
No.
I would love to tell you that she slept in that bed, but she came in 1565, and if I'm a purist, that bed is dated 1580. So it was not that
okay.
bed, but she would have slept in this room, which would have been appropriate because this is where her grandfather would have slept.
Right. And this paneling that I'm seeing here.
Rather original, unique, single linen fold paneling.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when Queen Elizabeth was here
It would have
and
been
slept
here.
in this room, this would have been
This
here.
would have been here.
Coat of arms. Would have
Absolutely.
absolutely been here.
And then there was paneling at this window, and then as we are blessed in this house to have these little corner turrets, we have a bathroom using the paneling.
No. Oh my gosh. This is wonderful. But of course, this wouldn't have been a bathroom when Queen Elizabeth was here.
No, it would have been a powder room.
But a powder room.
Yes.
Right, powder room. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So I'm in the turret right now.
Yes.
I love being in turrets.
There's one room which sums up perfectly how historic houses, like Deene Park and Mapperton, are layered in history as each generation leaves their mark.
But what does this date back to? I'm all about
Oh,
dates.
we're going back to about the late 1500s, Jacobean time.
So this is original?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
This is original. Wow.
18th century, we've got a bit of Georgian paneling.
Right,
And then
okay.
we've got
Yes.
19th century windows, 20th century
No.
ceiling, because this ceiling is a work of art on its own and was done by Robert's parents in 1997. We've
There.
even got 21st century.
What's
My
the
husband and
21st
I
century?
went to Jerusalem about 4 years ago.
Right.
And we bought this in the market.
So this is a real wonderful hodgepodge of centuries.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I love it.
What I love best of all in the room are the 2 pictures hanging on the Georgian panelling. Deene Park is full of portraits of Brudenells. He was the steward, and he was born in the village, educated by the 3rd Earl, came back and was the steward at Deene, running it all. And these pictures were given by the third Earl as a wedding present. Oh. And notes the blue silk, she's much prettier.
Yes.
And it passed down the Eaton family line and came up for sale. So I said that it was incredibly important that we had hanging on the walls people who lived here.
Yes,
who
yes.
are not called Brudenell.
Right.
So he's come back, and hooray, hooray. Come on in, this is my study, the oak parlour.
It's lovely. Thanks.
We've got a portrait of King Charles II there, who was the one who created Thomas Lord Brudenell, the first Earl of Cardigan.
Right.
3 weeks before his coronation.
3 weeks, because it was a debt that was owed by King Charles I, his father, who was, yep. And then he said to him, is that right?
He honoured the deal from the money that was given for his fighting fund.
Right.
And so he was made the first Earl of Cardigan. And one of his mistresses was the Duchess of Portsmouth, Louise de Querouaille, and they had, their son became the Duke of Richmond.
Oh.
And the reason we have him here is because he married the first Earl of Cardigan's granddaughter, who was called Lady Anne Brudenell, and we've got a picture of her here.
Right, well, at least their illegitimate child became a duke.
They were all made dukes. Yes. Fitzroy, that's where the name Fitzroy comes from.
Okay.
Yes, because Roy is king and Fitz means illegitimate son.
I didn't know that. No. That's a fun fact. I could win that at a quiz night, couldn't I?
You could.
I could win that as a quiz night. Okay, thank you, Charlotte.
Now, what I'd love to show you is the work of art that I would take with me. If there was a fire, I would grab the dog first,
right, yes,
then the husband, and then I'd come back and I'd get this map, which is from 1746, done by Brazier, and it's a map layout of what Deane looked like then. And I cannot tell you as a work of reference how much we have managed to understand from it. There was a river, they added a canal, they merged them together, and then they built this huge bridge here, and they made an enormous lake here, because those were the fish ponds from the medieval days.
This is wonderful. So this is what you would take.
I would take this, absolutely.
It's fantastic. Look at Minta.
Hello.
Good. Come on, Minta. Let's go. Minta must get a lot of steps in this house.
She needs it. Have you seen how stout she is?
I mean, stunning.
The ante-hall.
Beautiful.
It is a beautiful room.
The ante-hall, and it's because it's off the Great Hall.
It's off the Great Hall.
Right.
So I think probably in medieval days it would have been a buttery and a dairy and a storage room.
Right.
Yes, but now it's been made into our little dining room.
Yeah, well, it's rather grand. I love it.
But we've got two lovely items in here,
right,
which I really want to show you. One is the exercise chair in the corner.
Okay.
Do you know what an exercise? Would you like to?
No, is it 18th century?
I think no, it might be 19th century. Basically, without biffing your head, sit on it.
Okay. So I can stand on this.
Stand on that. Yep.
Okay.
Sit on it. And you go up and down. Up.
This is what they did. What, to work their core?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
We used to say to our son, push down lunch, make room for pudding.
Oh my gosh, what, do they think that they just didn't get enough steps around these big houses?
Well, you're not doing any steps now, but
no,
it is.
It's working something else, it's working
yes.
the core.
Yeah.
That is so crazy.
And the second thing I wanted to show you, this was a gift to me, and I have put around it all the most famous people who have been to Deane either for tea or for lunch or stayed or for dinner. And we've got, obviously, Queen Elizabeth I, because she stayed here for her one night. We have Prince Philip, because he came here for the 1954 anniversary of the Charge of the Light Brigade dinner. And we've got Prince Michael of Kent. I put Earl of Cardigan, but that's rather generic, isn't it? Because there were 7 of them.
Yeah, but still.
We also had a visit from Her Majesty Queen Mary. Queen Mary came for tea here in 1937.
Did she take anything?
No, she didn't. She did point out that she had something that we had, and my husband's Greek grandmother said, oh, we'd quite like it back. But that's apocryphal. What she did do is she went round the house, and she sort of saw all the shredded walls and said, amazing family that's been here for so many years, such a shame there's no money. I thought, plus ça change. Yes.
This is brilliant. I love this though, this sort of emplacement it's very clever.
For dinner parties.
Yeah, for
it's
dinner
great.
parties.
How spectacular Deene Park is. I met up with Charlotte and Robert for drinks in another beautiful room.
Can you just tell me a little bit about this glorious room? And the shape, I think, is rather splendid because you've got sort of the square edges there, and then it has the
bow, which is why it's called the bow room.
Right.
So in this room we have probably one of our prized possessions, which is the Brudelnell Tresham Library. And it is a very important late 16th century library where we have books that are written in Spanish, French, Latin, Greek, English. It's a collection that belonged to Sir Thomas Tresham.
Right.
And Sir Thomas Tresham's youngest daughter married Sir Thomas Brudenell, who was also an antiquarian, so a lot of the books were his. And I reckon that it was her wedding dowry. This wonderful library was confiscated by the parliamentary troops in 1643 when they came to raid Deene. And the Earl of Cardigan, who was then Sir Thomas, Lord Brudenell, he escaped. And they took his library away, and he had quite an adventure, which I won't go into. But when he was let out of the Tower of London, he had to buy his library back.
No.
And the library was brought back, except for some of the books, which are now in an Oxford library.
Right, but he was able to get the majority of
Or he was
the collection
furious he
back.
had to pay them.
Oh, my
so I think
goodness.
it was more of a fine than a repurchase.
This is 16th century, most of these books.
And beginning of 17th century.
Beginning.
Yeah.
In this library here, do you have a few favorites, would you say?
I have one very special book here.
Right.
One very special book here, and I know where it is, because it's all under lock and key.
Yes, yes.
And this is the Almanac, the diary of Sir Edmund Brudenell. On August the 12th in 1565, it has got Regina Apud Deene. So we have the absolute proof that Queen Elizabeth I came here for the night of August the 12th and August the 13th.
Oh my goodness.
So when people
That's
say, oh, she never
incredible.
came to Northamptonshire, she
Yeah,
did.
she did.
She did.
And she
came
stayed here.
For one night.
For one night. You have this proof.
Absolutely, we have
Right.
this proof.
See,
yes.
that's what's pretty spectacular, that you have this in writing. So cheers to that.
Absolutely.
Cheers to
Indeed.
Queen Elizabeth I.
Absolutely, and her one night stay. She never
Yes.
came back, thank heavens.
Today, I'm ready to get stuck in on a lot of the future projects that are happening here at Deene Park. I mean, Deene Park is vast. It's a beautiful historic house, but of course, we're always, as homeowners, trying to think of ways that we can incorporate more income to help to preserve this part of England's heritage.
Good morning.
This is heaven. It's all heaven, isn't it?
Yep.
Good morning. Can I just say, I slept,
I was going to ask you.
but do you think it's the horsehair mattress?
I'm just going to shut that
It's
door.
also because you're here. You're staying under somebody else's roof, so your worries also go
Yes.
slightly. It's very, very tranquil here.
Yeah.
Yes.
You do hear the traffic, but, you know...
It's the
you've
bustle
got to
of
be listening
life
to it.
outside.
Yes, it was beautiful, but I slept like a log.
Oh, well done.
Do you do coffee, Charlotte?
Absolutely. I don't speak until I've had a cup of coffee.
I know. Sitting in here, the stained glass is extraordinary. Was this always here?
Not at all. No, we're looking at the remnants of a ballroom that was built after the charge of the Light Brigade to commemorate the great victory, or not victory. And there is a sort of gap. There was a Regency enfilade that came through, and the ballroom went right outside and was designed by Crace. It was very high Victorian.
Right.
I think the colour of the stone was slightly
Pretty well.
yellower.
It was
You
slightly-
remember
I
it?
remember it, yes, certainly. But the colour of the stone was slightly different to the rest of the house.
So you remember it was here.
It was here. It was taken down in the 80s. I remember we had a school here in the late 60s, early 70s, and we used to play badminton in here. And later, of course, when my parents opened the house to the public, we had teas in there, and we had our 21st party in the ballroom. And
So this doorway here that I'm looking
that
at.
door, for parties, There were 3 big rooms, a bowroom where we were last night. Then you open up the twin doors behind in the bowroom into the drawing room, and then these doors open, and then you came into the boardroom, and this was a double height room in here. There was a minstrel's gallery upstairs, up some steps, and then downstairs was like it is now. And then you walked through. When you went straight into the boardroom. I don't think there were double doors here like there are now.
Right.
But then you had the boardroom right to the far end, and the turret at the end was doubled height than it is now. My parents put it down.
The floor level was the same, and they had underground heating. They had underground
So
hot
this
water.
floor here
Went straight out.
Went straight out.
Yeah.
One of the things, of course, I love to do when I come and visit magical places like Deene Park is just to be able to get onto the estate. Because I think, especially for me, the American, when I first moved here and I would see these grand houses, these palaces, these manor homes, I just thought that was it. You've got the house and the history of the house, but then you've got the surrounding land, and there's a lot going on.
We need the land all around it because that is what supports the house. Every tile on the roof needs some funding somehow.
Right.
And we are very blessed here because we've got a whole lot of different ways of diversification, I think is the word.
Generating income, yes.
Generating
Yes.
income, yeah. So today you're going to hopefully go and have a look at some of the things we've got, some of the building works that we're doing, which we will be able to have commercial lets with, and then see what we're doing with the ground, with regeneration in terms of rewilding, and the bees. We're very fond of our bees, and some of Robert's cattle.
When you took over, 9 years ago, did you feel when you stepped in there was still a lot for you to do? I mean, what was your biggest concern 9 years ago?
My personal one was being absolutely scared rigid. I'll quite honestly say that I didn't like Deene. I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know how it ran. There was this sort of feeling that it's got to carry on as it was, and financially we couldn't do that. I felt really the newbie, and I was treading on eggshells everywhere. It was a very horrible, horrible time. But you learn, and everybody's very helpful. And of course, my love for Deene is unquantifiable now. We have had a lot to do here at Deene in the last 9 years. We had to re-roof most of the house. We had to put in central heating.
Re-roof,
No.
yes, but we did, I think, a half of the house, and a point I always loved saying when we do that, the scaffolding took 6 weeks to put up.
The scaffolding put 6
weeks. We couldn't get a lorry close enough, so I had to walk it through, and also roses at the front, the flowers at the front. Roses do not like iron, do not like scaffolding, and therefore we had to be very careful that if we damage those roses, it would knock the regeneration of those roses out for a good 10, 15 years.
Yeah, a good 10 years, yeah.
The scaffolding went twice the height of this house. Can I rewind slightly on it?
Yes.
Because most people put a roof on first and then they deal with the central heating.
Right.
We did it actually the other way round. We had a lovely, lovely expert who came to look at our books, our wonderful library books, and sure enough there was white mould on them. So we had to get specialists in to come and unmould the books, particularly in the Bowram Library. And at the end of it, they said, "That's perfect, but you do realise that after another cold winter, the mould will be back, and you'll see us again next year." So we then realised we had to sort out the heating, and we've put in a mammoth wood chip boiler, a mammoth one, which is incredibly noisy, and I love it in January, but not in June.
Yes.
And so we put in the central heating in first, and then we moved onto the roof.
And then you moved onto the roof. But those are two big projects because, at Mapperton, luckily my in-laws had done the roof. And that is, I don't think that, I know I didn't realize this until I had moved into a historic house. You don't have a house without the roof. And your biggest expense is the roof. And that was your huge, one of two huge projects, because then heating Deene Park and getting that biomass boiler in would have been an enormous expense.
It was.
And it was, yes. We are caretakers of the house, so everything that is done on the estate within the house is all for the good of the house. It's so that we can hand it over to the next generations, so that history continues.
So that history continues. That's exactly right. Well, I'm excited to get stuck in today and to see more of the estate. But gosh, I really did sleep I texted my husband first thing this morning. I was like, I think we need to get a few more horsehair mattresses at Maverton because I slept so
I don't know if
well.
can you still get them? I don't know if you can.
Oh, there's still horses around, so you must be able to.
Must be able to, sure.
After a glorious breakfast, I'm heading out with Mark Coombs, the estate manager of the Brudelnell Estates, who is masterminding plans for the future here at Deene Park.
So Mark, we're heading off on the estate, but I have just noticed, obviously, big wedding happening here.
Yep.
There's so much going on.
We have to diversify the business in order to generate enough cash to really keep the estate going.
Yes.
You know, put lead on the roof, as we say.
Yes.
And to be able to reinvest back into the estate. So one of our diversifications is weddings.
Right.
We've actually got 3 sites that we do weddings. The estates are far more than simply agriculture and forestry.
Yeah.
You have land,
Yes.
and that is an asset. And that asset has to be used wisely, both for, I guess, the continuing running of these estates, but as importantly, there's also a responsibility in terms of good quality stewardship and management for the wider community and other stakeholders.
It's lovely long grass.
That's right.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
It's so beautiful.
So this is all part of a parkland restoration scheme.
Okay.
So we've stopped putting fertiliser on here about 2 years ago.
Fantastic.
Anything like that. And you can see that, well, the butterflies, all the biodiversity and vertebrate life is really kicked in. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, we're really, so this will get bailed off at some point in August.
Right,
And then we'll
right.
actually have a music festival on here.
Oh, you are?
So you can do both.
Yeah,
you
can
kind
do
of
both.
zone it. Exactly right. Yeah.
It's brilliant. Okay, so where am I standing? Because I
Right.
I thought when we were driving, is that the house there?
So the house is just there, just through the trees, and you see St Peter's Church there in the
Yes.
village of Deene, just here. So where we are now is really in the sort of the core of the estate. So this is a 500-acre parkland.
Okay.
It's all part of the Brudelnell Estates, of which there are 10,000 acres.
Yes.
And there's 3,500 acres here, and a further 6,500 acres just in the Welland Valley in Leicestershire.
Okay.
So so this is all part of as you can see, this is all part of our parkland. We've converted 200 acres of former arable land back into parkland.
Oh, you have?
Yep.
Okay.
And we'll plant probably a couple of hundred parkland trees as well over a period of time.
Right. We're now in this period where it's trying to find that balance between food production, of course, and of course rewilding.
Correct.
And what are you using your land for, and making it work for everybody. And that's tough.
Yeah, it's quite a balance.
It's a balance.
I mean, you're never never going to be absolutely popular with everyone.
No.
But I mean, it's a fool who tries to do that. I think what we do is we have a 10-year plan.
So true.
Yeah, we have a 10-year plan, and that's a fairly broad plan, if you like.
Right.
We know where we want to be, and then that's more detailed within a 3-year window. So we're quite clear where we are with our sort of development targets, where we are with our internal businesses, where we want to be with our stewardship, etc. It's lovely to go out onto the estate and start seeing, you know, this. It is. It's absolutely lovely.
It is really lovely, you know, and you do start to notice all of a sudden more butterflies or moths or the invertebrate coming back. Okay.
And I'd like to introduce you to some of our cattle. We've got some native breeds who help us manage all of this.
Okay,
and
great.
they're lovely, placid, beautifully calm.
Okay, good.
Beef shorthorns.
Yeah, so
You'll be fine.
many people know that I have a fear of cows.
That's fine.
So,
you couldn't meet a nicer bunch of girls.
Okay.
They're absolutely lovely.
You heard it here first.
Before I face my fears with the herd, we stop off to see some of the building projects Mark is overseeing.
Well, this is one of the sweetest cottages I've ever seen.
It's beautiful,
I mean,
isn't it?
it's beautiful.
So this was the old kennelman's cottage.
Okay.
So years ago they would have had their own hounds here.
Right.
And so this was built for that individual.
Right.
And behind us, over there, is that would have been where the kennel boy would have lived.
Oh my
And the plan here, Julie, is to, well, you can see we're restoring this. So we've replaced the collie western roof.
It's beautiful.
We're turning it into a 3-bed cottage. The plan is that we're going to have this as a holiday cottage. It's the first one we will have done on the estate. but it will
Right.
support our wedding and events
Yes,
business.
yes.
And so we've got a new venue for our woodland weddings nearby, but we actually discovered that we had bats up in the roofs there.
Right.
So we've stopped.
Yes, you have to stop.
Consulted Natural England.
Yes.
We put in mitigating bat boxes around the place.
Right.
And we're just about to start. So the windows, we're making new windows which are ready now for fitting.
Okay.
And as soon as the windows are done and the gutters, we can drop the scaffolding, move into the building and start renovating
and
inside.
start renovating
So it's
inside.
got- yeah.
Fantastic.
So
So
we've-
3-bedroom here.
3-bedroom here.
And then what are you going to do with this?
So that's going to be a single bedroom.
Oh, wow.
And so the idea there is that if you have a small wedding party,
Yes.
bride and groom can stay in it's called the doghouse. So
Oh
we're
my
calling it the
goodness.
doghouse. I don't know if that's good or bad, but
No, I'm
we'll
sure
call
it's
it-
for the bride and groom. They'll find
they'll
take
like
it.
that. But
So
that's the plan there. So again, we're doing a little timber extension at the back there.
And obviously, I know that you do. I've seen the marquee
Yes.
that's been set up that has that backdrop of the house. Traditionally, that's what people wanted. That's what we do at Mapperton. But you're telling me that there's now another place
Yeah.
that people can have their weddings,
Yes.
which is more in the woodlands.
Correct.
Because that's becoming
Correct.
very popular. People want
Correct.
to be in nature.
So we can give them a little bit more choice. This is our woodland clearing for our woodland weddings. We've done nothing here other than mow it, but through the trees, we have added some wildflowers, etc. So the whole idea is that we've got a really light footprint in what we're doing here.
Yes.
The intention is that the marquee goes up for that specific event, but it's a super light sort of touch, and also from an estate point of view, we've not spent lots and lots of money on this.
Exactly.
You
So
know,
your
nature's kind
ROI.
of done it all for us. Yeah. But the meadow's absolutely beautiful. We've
Should we
cut
go
some
have
paths through there if you want to have a
Yeah,
a quick
definitely.
look. But it's
How-
lovely. So we only put the wildflower mix in the autumn last year.
Okay.
But what we'll do here, Julie, is we'll cut this off.
Right.
Once it's all seeded, we'll cut it and bale it and remove it and keep taking the energy out of the grass.
Okay.
And you'll find the wildflower mixes get stronger and stronger,
Stronger,
and stronger.
yeah.
So if you come up here in the evenings, it's absolutely full of moths and what have you.
Oh.
It's lovely. In fact, I come up in the evenings and
So
it's not
lovely.
unusual to see a deer or two here
Yeah.
or the hare or that sort of thing. But you can see the paths they're sort of rudimentary a little bit at the moment, but you get the idea of what we're trying to do.
Brilliant.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is beautiful, and then again, you just see butterflies all around.
Well, absolutely. So you've got the creeping thistles in
Yes.
here. You've got parsley, oxeye daisies.
Yes.
There's a few poppies. There's a thing called kidney vetch down there. Absolutely brilliant for the bees. You can see the bees, buzzing around.
Well, I can
so,
hear
so
them.
this is interesting, isn't it? You might be able to give me a view on this slightly. So our gardens say, should we be pulling these out, these thistles?
No.
No. Well, there's the answer.
I mean,
No,
look
I
at
think
the,
we're-
look at the, if
They're
you look
absolutely
at the
full, aren't
thistles,
they? And it's
they're
quite
full.
pretty, isn't it?
It's
looking
so
through
pretty.
it.
You don't pull out the thistles because
Yeah.
look at the wildlife that's look at the invertebra.
Yeah.
That every
all-
bee
all-
I've seen so far is
It's been
going.
on. Look, there
is-
they are.
is-
They're absolutely full of it.
They're full of it, and
So-
then they pollinate and go on
And
and
they'll
on
go
and on.
on.
This is
But
this is what you want to see. Look at them.
This is year one, so
Right, this
within 2 or 3 years we'll have
Let's
this.
get it. Well, I
looking
can't wait to come
mint.
back.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, Mark, everybody wants to introduce me to their cattle.
I
because
know.
It's somehow
It's cruel, isn't it?
It's gotten around that I have a fear of cows.
Okay. Well, these are probably the nicest bunch of cows you're going to meet. These are our little herd of traditional beef shorthorn cattle.
Right.
Okay, so they're a native breed,
Yes.
and the reason we have them here is because it's part of our agri-environmental scheme. So we wanted to reintroduce these grazers back into the estate.
Ah.
And so we have a little herd of 20. We've had them for a couple of years.
Okay.
And we've got a lovely bull called Poseidon, who's not here.
Oh, I was looking-
He was due to come in today, and we thought that might just be too exciting for everyone.
Right,
So
right,
he's
exactly.
in tomorrow.
Okay.
But as you can see, they come in lots of sort of different colours and
Yes,
what have
beautiful.
you. Aren't they beautiful?
Yeah, they're really
They
beautiful.
really are. So this is part of our parkland restoration. We've introduced a new avenue here. As you can see, some lime trees.
Yes.
Cleared some trees at the other end. So you get a vista all the way up through there.
Yeah, beautiful.
As you come in into the estate. So this is part of the 500-acre restoration programme. What you've got in front of you, this lovely cow, that is the classic beef short-arm cow.
Yes.
And you can see, isn't she lovely and friendly?
She is lovely and friendly. I mean, they are all looking at me though, so I'm a bit like...
Yeah, no. But they're good calves, and there's some lovely calves in here.
Then Mark introduces me to some renovation projects taking place across the estate.
All right, Mark, I love a good kit, so thank you for the hard hat and the high vis.
We've got a range of disused agricultural buildings here.
Right.
They're listed, so there are complications with that.
Yes,
But
yes they are.
They're totally underutilised.
Yep.
But what we're doing is converting these to form little business units. The plan originally was to do very small little workshops, but we're actually going to go for offices.
For offices?
Yep. So we've got planning, so we're stripping the roofs off and we'll start re-roofing it, etc. But there's a lot of stone work to do. But this one here was totally gone.
Right.
So we've stripped that off and it's been battened, and then we'll put the Collie Western slate back on there.
Back on there.
So they're scheduled to come at the beginning of the month.
Brilliant.
To do that. So you can see it's a classic sort of courtyard, but we're going to create roughly 19 little business units out of these.
Okay.
And what we're proposing to do is heat them through geothermal rods.
Yes.
So 10 rods at 150 metres, so 1.5 kilometres if you like.
Right.
And a little plant room, and that will distribute heat and hot water for all of the business units. So hopefully we can ride the sort of the peaks and troughs of energy costs and so on and so forth.
And I'm just going to ask, with this roof up here, so that you're having to literally rebuild.
The joiners will come and start replacing the timbers that need to be replaced.
Okay.
And our guys just pointing up the walls, etc., in advance of the rest of it.
Now you know me. I never miss an opportunity to get involved. And I'm joining Ned Cole and Adam McCrone up on the scaffold.
So here, because the building's that old, where the wall plates moved and pushed the stonework, it's all come loose.
Yep.
So basically what we've got to do up here on both sides is replace the loose stones.
Okay,
so
wow.
Me and Adam,
and then repoint.
Yes, and then repoint.
Right.
So me and Adam, we did after last week and this week, with help from Brandon, doing this side, which is all pointed up and ready for the roofer to replace the roof.
Oh, right. So this side's ready.
This side's ready.
And then what about on the other side?
On the other side, there's plenty of work to do. That side.
Still, right. Okay, should we have a little look at that?
Yep.
Okay, wow. This is your next big project.
This is the project now, this side. So basically what I'll get Adam to do now is where here, instead of it being lime mortar, it's cement.
Oh my gosh.
So what we've got to do is we've got to try and get it out and then repoint it with lime cement, which we've been using.
All this is cement?
Yes.
You're not supposed to use cement because then it doesn't work well with the environment. It's not breathable. So all the moisture gets caught in.
Yes, trapped.
Right?
Yeah.
Trapped in.
Yes.
All right, so what are you and I going to do while Adam has this super fun job? He's super excited.
While Adam's doing that, what we'll do, as you can see, already prepared, this is where all the loose stone was.
Okay.
So what we've done is we took it off, and then all we're doing is, as you can see, we've put it, so this is your top course and that's to go on next.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll just lay these stones onto the wall.
Without?
No, with
with
the lime cement.
With the lime cement.
Yes.
Okay.
So then basically what we're doing is just rebuilding it back up to this height.
Okay.
So when the roofers come, it's not loose.
It's not loose.
It's all solid again.
Okay, do you want to start this process?
Yep. So,
because I have zero
So what we've got to do, because obviously when we cleaned them, there's still some cement left on.
Oh my gosh.
So just chip that off. If you've got rubbish and dirt still there, your cement's not going to stick.
It's not going to stick.
So what you've got to do from there,
oh my goodness.
again, different brick layers and stone layers, they have their own way of putting joints on. Some put it on the one they've got in their hand, and some put it on there. And then basically what you've got to do is fight your way back in.
I mean, that's looking sort of right. Yeah.
So again, when you've done that.
Okay, so I'm going to try to do one. So I take this and I'm going to plunk it on, correct?
Spread it about. Fill all your places in.
And go far back. How far back should I go? More.
Yep.
And back.
Yep.
Okay. What do we think? More?
No, that's fine.
You sure?
That's fine. That's good.
Okay.
And then what you've got to do there is, so your stone to stick, you need a joint either on this stone or that stone.
Oh, right. Okay.
So what I would do, I'd put it on there, so then you can control the stone with your hand. Beautiful.
Okay. How's that?
That's fine.
Okay, now.
So now what you've got to do is pick your stone up without any dirt on it.
Yeah.
Keep a 10mm gap-ish there, and then tap it when you're sort of levelish.
Yeah.
You're there.
I'm there. I did it.
Yeah.
I did one.
And then you go on to your next one.
Then you go on to the next one. And then you
just carry on.
And then you just carry it, and you've got all to do all down there.
So
there's lots to do.
Lots to do.
Gosh, I'm going to have to come back here and visit this.
Oh, yes.
That is for sure.
So you're really seeing behind the scenes here, really. This is not many people, hardly any people get to see this.
Oh my God.
So what we've got here, it's an extraordinary building. I think it's one of the only of its type of its in the UK. So it's it's brick built, listed riding school. Okay, so it's mid 19th century, 1840 or
right.
so. So it was built by the Earl of Cardigan to train his horses.
Oh my goodness.
So can you imagine training your horses undercover here? And the walls, if you look at the bottom of the walls, can you see that they slope away slightly?
Yes, I do, yes.
That's so the horse, as it's going round in its peripheral vision, can see that and just keeps you and the rider, it keeps the rider off the wall, doesn't it? So you can go around here at quite high speed. And
so
of course
it was very cleverly built, obviously.
Very cleverly built. Yeah.
Yes.
And as you can see, it's in need of restoration. Some of the timbers have rotten, and we've got acro props keeping it up. We got a little grant from the Historic Houses Foundation.
Oh, did you? Well
to
done.
do it. Yep. So the idea is that we will strip all these roofs, reset all the timber, rebuild the walls where they're bowing out.
Yes.
And then we're going to reuse this. So the idea, what our kind of vision is here, is to have markets in here, at least monthly. So maybe a Christmas market, a flower fair, an antique fair.
Oh my gosh!
So we could run electric around the outside. It'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I
you
mean,
must have a,
oh my goodness.
Have a good explore. It's a lovely set of buildings.
This is definitely. I will definitely.
It's unusual, isn't it?
It's really unusual, and it's beautiful. It is actually really beautiful.
Good.
I've just had a brilliant day out. I've learned so much about really the detail it takes to run an estate like Deene Park. And it always brings me back that, of course, these estates have these wonderful, magical, historical homes that visitors want to come and see, but it's a running estate. There's old farm buildings that need to be repurposed, yet they're listed, so you have to do them the right way. This is a perfect example right here of, an old sort of training riding school, if you like, and it is listed. So it needs to be repaired in the right way. And yes, there are grants available, but the grants only go so far. And you have to work out how you can commercially use these spaces in order to generate income that goes back into the estate. Today is the big day. It's the wedding here at Deene Park. So I put my dress back on to look the part. But I'm first going to check out the gardens because, like so many historic houses, there are usually magnificent gardens attached to them, and Deene Park certainly has some sensational gardens to look at. Right, now you are known for your gardens, aren't you?
We are,
Yeah.
yes. And
It's
we have in the last 9 years produced a few more gardens. This is the golden garden because they all flowers later in the year. So when the long borders are over,
Yes.
you can then actually have colour. We've grown sort of local things. We haven't had a designer in. We're just growing things that we know are going to work and survive here.
Beautiful. But this is one of how many?
Well, 5 different coloured theme gardens that
Love
we've got.
it. All right, where are we off to next?
Right, on we go.
Beautiful. Well, this is lovely. I mean, do you come out here as often?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day
exactly,
with the dog.
As you should do.
We're going now into the White Garden.
Okay.
And the White Garden was built in, it was there before, but we revamped the entrance.
Right.
And it's done in memory of Robert's parents. So everything here is white.
Oh my
And there's a little urn tucked in there given by the guides. And then Robert's father's got one there given by his tenants.
It's so lovely. In fond memory of Edmund Brudelnell, given by the farm tenants, August 25th. It's lovely. And then the other one is for mother.
Mother-in-law Marion,
Mother, yeah.
yes.
Beautiful.
Everything here is white except at the end of
So
April when we have forget-me-nots galore.
Right.
And they were
yeah.
white forget-me-nots, but they've turned back to being blue.
Blue, right.
And
right.
I did say to Andrew, hang on a minute, it's a white garden. And his answer was, well, being called forget-me-nots, it's the right name.
Yeah. This is beautiful. This is like an avenue of heaven, right?
It's called the Long Borders, and originally it was part of the walled garden that was built in about 1720. The gardens here at Deene were, obviously during the Second World War, they were all put to grass.
Okay.
And Robert's parents started to formalise the garden back as it was. And these wonderful borders here were half the size, and they took advice and they doubled them in size, which is why they're so luscious and rich
Right,
and
yes.
full of colour. But everything we do here as a garden is that it's an adjunct to the house. It's not a separate garden that's, you know, beautifully designed
Right.
and all that. It grows with the house. So everything that we have here, and we do only have 2 gardeners, is self-seeding. And they go along and weed, obviously they keep
yes.
it going and replant.
How wonderful. It's absolutely beautiful. This is enormous.
It is enormous, and we change all the flowers within it. And the flowers that we're planting now seem to be changing much more into sort of warmer, hotter plants. 10 years ago, I knew you'd never have put a banana plant out there, but now it thrives.
It certainly does. So where we are now is called what garden?
It's called the Four Seasons Garden.
Okay.
I think this was here originally, but it wasn't planted out with this wonderful beech hedge that we have. And the colouring in here is a sort of mixture of white and blue and
Yeah.
red. So it's rather a royal garden, actually.
Yeah, it is a
isn't
rather royal garden.
Yes.
It's fantastic. And this would have been a huge kitchen garden. Is that right?
We've got records in the 1850s where they had 18 gardeners just in the vegetable gardens. I just want to show you this building here. It was built by the 7th Earl of Cardigan, and it's where he entertained his lady friends. Yes, there's some stairs at the back that go up to what was his bedroom. Yes.
Oh my, so he built that as his escape, as his little hideaway.
Yes.
There you go. Right. Oh,
And now we're going to head up
okay,
here.
let's head up here. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm standing on where people will get married. This is your 3rd location.
This is the very first of the 3 locations.
The first, okay, right.
Yes.
So this location came first, and you decided to put this in, people can get married here, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Weather dependent.
Yes, yeah, of course. And then what, chairs would come out here?
Chairs we put out there, and then they go straight into the marquee behind.
But to have 3 wedding venues is incredible on an estate. And they're all different, and that's what's so wonderful. You've got the lakes, and then this one you called...
The wall garden.
The walled garden.
Marquee, yes.
Marquee, the lakes, and then the woodland.
And this tradition has been the most popular, and we're sold out here for next year. Because of licenses, we can only hold a certain amount. So
Right.
2023 booked.
So originally, though, this would have been, again, part of the walled garden.
The 3rd Earl of Cardigan, when he came back to Deene eventually, discovered that fruit and vegetables had to be brought in from the neighbouring estate at Blatherwick. And he was so shamed by that, he started at a brick kiln, and they built these 7 walled gardens.
No.
And it's just incredible that
Goodness.
They're still standing, these walls, which are all listed. And then at some stage they were used for growing Christmas trees and breeding pheasants, and I believe there was a tennis court here once upon a time.
Well, it's brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic. Come on, Minta! Come on, Minta! Come on, Minta!
Each generation adapts the gardens to the tastes and needs of their time. Robert has joined us to explore the jewel in the crown here at Deene Park.
Well, this is glory right here. Tell me about it.
This is the main best bit showing off of Deene Park Gardens. This is called the parterre that Robert's parents put in the 1980s. And they got David Hicks to design it. And it's based on the Serlier design, which we have throughout the house, of a square and a circle and a square.
Right.
And the whole theme of this garden is purple.
Now, Charlotte, I want to just point out something a little bit further along.
Something to do with lozenges, I'm guessing.
It's just something as I was staying here and I was walking around and I was like, oh, I spotted that coat of arms all on its own.
That is the Montague one, because
Yeah.
there's nothing Brudelnell added to it.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah, so that was done in honour of Mary.
Mary, yeah.
Montague.
There we go. Incredible. Yeah, I know. So like I said, we're family.
Indeed, indeed.
Wow, well that was a real treat, and I can see now, well, you know, it's all these layers that Deene Park has. You know, you've got the history of the house, but then you've got the living history, your own stories, but attached to that, and part of the fabric, really, of the building are these extraordinary gardens. And then you've got the wider estate. It's wonderful, though. Wonderful.
I've got one more garden to show you.
Yes.
Round the corner, which is a rather special.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Let's go to that. Let's go to that.
This is the east front of the house, which I think architecturally is the most interesting side of the house. This is Mrs. Roberts' pink rose garden, which I have put in as my gift to Deene, my legacy to Deene. And it's pink because there are too many men in our house, and I love pink. And it was designed particularly because originally, once upon a time, there was a chapel that stuck out. That was the monastic chapel, the medieval chapel that you saw the arch coming through to. And to the right of it was a knot garden of herb, a herb garden in the shape of a cross.
Okay.
So that's what we've done here, is a shape of a cross.
Oh, you've done, yes.
And what we did here was we've put pink lavender.
You put pink lavender.
And the colours of the roses greyed out from dark pink to pale pink. And they're all chosen because they're named after people we love.
Oh, they are?
So Rosamundi for Godmother Rosie.
Right.
Sophie Splendida for Godmother Sophie. And
Fantastic.
this, as you can see, is a haven of bees and butterflies.
Yeah, I can see them. Yeah. Obviously, I see a lot of coat of arms here. It's the carvings are beautiful.
Lots of Brudenells, shamrocks, which is the Tresham.
Right.
Tresh,
Yeah.
3.
Yes.
So this side is pre-Montague, I'm afraid.
Well, this is wonderful. And I love that we've sort of done this fantastic garden tour, but we've ended with you.
Oh.
We've ended with your
I'm clashing
garden.
terribly with
You know,
my
it's
pink
great.
roses.
I love it. You stand out, Charlotte. You stand out. So these historic houses rely on, of course, visitor income, the tours, the events, but weddings are a huge part of income for these historic houses in order for them to restore, to repair, and to preserve this part of England's heritage. And Deene Park is no different. I'm really excited. The marquee's right here. I'm going to get stuck in and see all that goes on in preparing for this huge wedding that's happening here tomorrow. All right, this is the big marquee right here. I'm about to meet Georgina, wedding coordinator here. So they're getting prepped for this enormous wedding. It's all very exciting. This is a fantastic marquee, by the way. Whoa, and it's huge. Hello.
Hi, lovely to meet you.
So nice to meet you. Thank you so much for letting, this is enormous.
It's huge, isn't it?
I can come in and see what's happening. But
I'm sorry.
That's right, don't be sorry. I'm all about kidding out and making sure that this floor stays squeaky clean.
There we go.
Until tomorrow.
Come in.
Great. So this is an enormous marquee, isn't
Huge.
it?
This is the biggest we've had at Deene Park so far. We are one a week at the very most,
Right.
so we can give our couples the full week's attention for the build-up, as you can see, that's taken place here.
Oh my goodness. 'Cause I know weddings are a big business.
It is.
For historic houses. I mean, we have a wedding business as well, and it's big for us, and it's because it's a way to generate income that can then go back into preserving the estates.
We keep it very exclusive, so we can give our couples the time that they deserve in the planning of their weddings and the setup. But with the other 2 sites now coming along, we'll be able to take a few more weddings on because the Woodland site is so far away. It's a self-contained venue in its own right. We will be growing, isn't it?
Yeah,
magical. Do you see the wildflowers?
Oh yeah, it was
so pretty.
We saw. I was with Mark. We saw so many bees on the thistles, and it was incredible, and butterflies.
Tomorrow, the DJ will be setting up. We've got a big screen going behind the dance floor with the DJ booth and all the lights on the stage here in the front, so it will change a bit tomorrow. Crystal Group are in at the moment, setting up all the decor. So they're setting up all the VIP tables in the middle here, and all the centerpieces.
Okay, so these
are the family tables.
Right. And then this is all the guests. Now these centerpieces are rather extraordinary.
Aren't they beautiful?
Yeah.
We're final touches today. So this is Daisy from Fuse Marquise.
Hello, hello.
She's steaming all the drapes today to take all the creases out.
So you've got to go all the way around.
Yes. Yeah.
Those are the details.
Right. Oh my goodness. I know what it is. Can I just have a little go? It's quite fun, isn't it? It's quite fun, isn't it? But look at that. There's something about a steamer. Do you know what I mean? It just sort of makes you proud because you're like, oh my gosh. But how's your arm going to be after this?
All right, to be honest.
Will it be?
I'm
You're well practiced in steaming. I mean, it does take some time. I mean, you know, this is. So have you just started here?
Yes.
Yeah. It's okay. Daisy has a long way to go. You can do this occasionally, right? Give yourself a nice little facial there.
The next step, so tablecloths have gone on, centerpieces will go in place, then they'll dress the VIP tables in the middle.
Right.
Then that's the decor team done. I make that sound really quick and easy. They'll be here all day.
So with the preparations for the wedding well underway, it's time to head inside to help get ready for our dinner party this evening.
All right, I have to be honest, Lynn, that I have been waiting all day for this. You know, when I've gone to dinner parties before, I've always been impressed with the napkins. I've tried it many, many times myself, and I haven't been able to do it. So I've been told to come and find you because you know what to do.
That is the napkin ring. I'll show you how to make.
Yes. How do you start? So you've got the napkin
here. So you get the napkin, spray it with starch.
Yeah.
And then iron it all out. Fold it in half.
Right.
Spray it again.
Okay.
You fold
here
and iron it.
Yeah.
And then another one.
Another one.
Iron.
Iron.
Flip it over.
So two, flip over.
Flip it over again.
Okay.
And then
flip over,
you
fold.
just roll.
Okay, you've made that way too easy. So it's like a fold in half, and then 2 little folds, and then a fold in half and a roll.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, should I have a little go?
I think you should.
So I'm just gonna start on like a clean slate here. Okay, now, fold in half.
Fold in half. Spray again,
Spray again. Okay. Okay, hold on. 1 fold and iron.
Just iron, yeah.
Just iron. Okay, 1. And then another one.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then I do that. And I'm gonna flip it over.
Yeah.
Okay. So should I go?
Yeah.
Like that? Whoops.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fold up here. Then I'm gonna roll, and then I roll up. Okay, roll.
And there you have your napkin ring.
Okay.
Perfect.
Lynn is kindly doing a Birds of Paradise napkin just for me in my honor. All right, here we go. Iron it all up.
And you fold it in half.
Okay.
Spray. And you fold it into a square.
Okay.
You fold each thing up.
And then you iron.
Iron.
Spray.
Yeah. Iron. Then you fold and iron.
Okay.
Then you fold that over, and then you just do that.
Right.
And then you take each little.
Oh my gosh. And now I see why you had to starch them.
Yeah.
In between each of the folding crease. That is beautiful. Okay, I love that one. That was brilliant. So exciting that I was able to do that. And I can definitely take that back home. I'm gonna remember that. Fold in half, fold, fold, fold in half. Roll.
Yeah. And that's nice at Christmas as well, because you can put a little bit of ivy.
Yeah.
Or holly.
Or holly in there.
In there.
Or even mistletoe if you have some. Yeah. Thank you, Lynn. Next up, polishing the silver. So can I lend a hand?
That would be marvellous.
One of the things I do like to do is polish silver.
So would you like to polish one of these?
This must be Brudelnell family silver here.
I believe that was a wedding present, Mrs. Brudelnell? Yeah. And there's a pair, you see.
Oh, yes. Are these just really more like features?
Yes.
Just features on the
cock
table.
pheasant sits up by Mr. Brudelnell, and the female by Mrs. Brudelnell.
Right. I think it's brilliant. By the way, I'm polishing this.
Maybe you should wear one.
Maybe
of
I
these,
should. I was just thinking. I don't know if I'm.
Get your handprints on it.
I kind of want to. You know, I'm all about being kitted out. There's something quite meditative about this.
Yes, there is. Yeah, it's part of our deep cleaning regime as well. It probably takes us a good week to polish all the silver in the house.
Yeah. And how often are you polishing?
Just once a year.
Just once a year. That's that's about what we do as well.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I think you've done a marvelous job.
Yeah, great job.
Is that all right? Okay. I mean, you can definitely tell a difference of the shine. All right, ladies, are we finished? It's rather fun, isn't it? Then the big test for me, setting the table. Anytime I do get left to set the table without my husband, he does come around and check it. In fact, we just had a son's 21st birthday, and I set the table for that. But it all looks so beautiful when it's said and done. So I'm going around and I'm just making sure there's sort of one thumb distance so that when you sort of look down here, and this is how I always, when I do mark it, when I look down at the one end of the table all the way down, I want to see like a perfect line. I think there's one I might have to move up here, just like a tiny bit that's bothering me. The thing about formalities is that if we don't keep them up, they will get lost. And it's not that we're doing this all of the time, but it's about carrying on these traditions. And times, of course, have changed, and luckily they have, and many of us just have lovely suppers in our kitchen. But I think, every once in a while, being able to set the table properly, I think it's a real art, and I think it's a thing of beauty, and I think it's wonderful just to be able to be in such a beautiful setting around, friends or new acquaintances, and having a really proper dinner party. So it's my last night here at Deene Park, and we've set up for a dinner party The dinner is in the dining room. I cannot wait to eat in there, but it's just been an extraordinary time here at Deene Park. And this is the wonderful thing about these historic houses. Yes, they're open to the public, and we love opening them to the public, having visitors come in and tour all the rooms. But of course, they also need to be lived in. This is really living history. So I'm really excited to be able to dine with Charlotte and Robert and have a dinner party in the dining room and use the rooms occasionally and put new energy and life in them. So I feel like I'm going off to a ball. I'm not, but I feel like I am, because let's face it, I'm in a castle and I have a turret there for my bathroom. Something about drawing rooms. They're like no other rooms in the world. This, oh my goodness!
They're really called withdrawing rooms, and they're where the ladies withdrew to when men were carrying on drinking port round the table.
And having cigars.
So that's why they're always so exquisitely beautiful.
So tell me about this drawing room.
Well, this drawing originally, it had silk hangings, and we've got a small remnant left in the corner over there.
Right.
And then Robert's parents found this exquisite American wallpaper.
No.
It's not silk, it's wallpaper. And they put the filaments over it so it looks like it's silk. This room, being a withdrawing room, has got portraits really mostly of women. We've got Anna Maria, and then we have Mary Tresham, Mary Brudelnell, the first Countess of Cardigan, my absolute fave-rave. She was the one who held the fort during the Civil War when everything was taken, the books, the pictures, the furniture, and everybody skedaddled, and she was left here being fined 4/5 of her income.
Oh my goodness. Do you feel that she kind of saved the place?
She really kept the home fires burning.
I love that you said that this is where, you know, the drawing room is because this is where the women used to withdraw. But you have really made it, you know, women, sort of empowering women around here.
Well, I'd love to say I made it, but in fact it was Robert's mother who made it. What is the most beautiful thing in the room are these portraits we've got, which are painted by Paul van Sommer, and they're known as the Brudenell Tresham portraits. There's nothing to do with the Tresham. I think they're all sisters.
So you want to find out who they are.
Of course
and so this
I
is
do.
Another project at Deene.
It is my exploration phase, yes.
It's one big research project, isn't it?
And it's such fun because, you know, interior decorating changes the whole time. Research becomes more and more easy to do. I've just looked up something and found that there's a book I can read online for what I want the information for. And so as information progresses, we learn more, and sometimes things change.
Yes.
And what you think is written in ink is not the person you thought they were.
Right, and you have to change the narrative and the storytelling.
Yes.
But and that's what's so fascinating. I mean, it is utterly beautiful.
It's an elegant room, isn't it?
It really is.
And here is our good health to you for coming all the way from beautiful, beautiful Dorset.
I know, you are a Dorset girl.
Up to Northamptonshire, which we absolutely now love.
Yep.
And thank you for taking the time to come and see us.
Thank you. This has been...
And to understand and to share our joy of Deene.
I'm in love with Deene, okay? Let's just say that.
Good.
And it's brilliant. So thank you both, and cheers.
Chin chin.
Chin chin. And so Robert, Charlotte, and I reflected on my visit over dinner and raised our glasses once more. Thank you both so much.
It is so much our pleasure to have you. You lighten up our life, and we just think it's fabulous that you appreciate Deene, which we so appreciate.
Yeah. I appreciated I appreciated it before because I am, you know, a lover, if you like, of historic houses, but I appreciate it now more than ever because coming here, you get to really see how it all works together. And it is, in one sense, a big jigsaw puzzle, but you have the team in place, and the team so looks up to you, and you have the two of you who just immerse yourself into making sure that the pieces are in the right place and that this carries on for
I'd just like to make tribute now to the fact of our three wonderful trustees.
Yeah.
Because they let us go out on little adventures, and they are so supportive.
It's amazing.
And thank you. We could not survive without them. So I would like to pay tribute to them.
Yeah, and you must, because trustees are so important, especially in this, in where we are today with historic houses. So cheers. Should I give
Indeed.
cheers? Thank
Chin.
you for a really, truly spectacular time.
And the following day, before I head home, there's time to take a peek at the wedding celebrations.
It's so exciting. The bride and the groom have just arrived, and they're here to do some of their photos, of course, with Deene Park as their backdrop. So far, so good with the weather, and I got a sneak peek of her, and she's absolutely beautiful.